Hi you guys, welcome back to our channel.
Today we're going to be talking about experience with sleep training and tips and tricks.
Yes, exactly. So we quickly mentioned in our last video that the method that I used was kind of a modified version of the chair method. So instead of having a chair in my boy's bedroom, since it's kind of small, I just sat next to his crib. And well, let's rewind back. So a very important is that you try and put your baby into their crib before they fall asleep. So you don't want them to be fully asleep, you want them to be drowsy. So, kind of tired, eyes are closed, but they're still somewhat moving and somewhat awake. You will know when your baby is still awake and when they are sleeping. So that's very important because they need to learn how to sleep by themselves. So yeah, when they are drowsy, you lay them down, and in the beginning, when you first start, they will be crying, they will be trying to fight against it because they are used to probably you putting them to bed when they are asleep. I mean, that's
just after feeding.
Yeah, after feeding, after they've calmed down and so on. The problem with that is that, the minute that they wake up, they will be looking for you. They will be looking for the situation that they fell asleep with. And when they don't see you, they will start to panic and they will start to cry. So that's why we want to sleep train, because we want to get away from that. So yeah, so you put them to bed when they are drowsy and you stay next to the crib. Use a chair or not. I did not use a chair. But I stayed next to the crib. I would sing him lullabies. I would assure him everything is okay. We can go to bed. It's time for night. I would pat his back and I would try to calm him through that little distance that I created. With time, you kind of progress and you go away a little bit more. There's going to be less touch. And this can take maybe a week in the beginning, just until they've gotten used to it. But it has definitely worked wonders for me. I literally went from taking an hour to put him to bed to taking 5 to 10 minutes bringing him to bed.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and sometimes now that I put him to bed, he will still be awake. He will still, coo around and play with his feet and push his feet through the slats of his crib and whatnot. But he's not crying, he's not screaming. He will eventually go to bed by himself. And that is amazing. I mean, we literally went from no sleep at all to having bigger and bigger stretches of sleep, which, at our best, he would wake up once around 3 in the morning, and I would put him to bed around 6:30, 7 p.m. and he would wake up at 3 in the morning and I would feed him. I'm still feeding him at night. And I think that it's not necessarily him being hungry. I think it's more like a soothing thing for him that I have to wean him off from.
Mine were thirsty.
Yeah, see, and that's another very important point. So my son just turned 1. Always have water next to your chair or wherever you calm him, soothe him, and whatnot. Always have water next to you. So I always offer him water first. But a lot of times he will still want the breast, which again, I think is more of a soothing thing for him. But then again, in the middle of the night, I put him to bed while he's still awake, while he's drowsy, right? He's sleepy, he wants to go to sleep, but he's not fully asleep yet. And, we are at the point now, it's been a couple of weeks that we've been training him, and there was definitely some setbacks, unfortunately, because we had big teething going on, we had big birthday party going on, and just certain things that will bring your kid out
Getting
of the
sick.
norm. Getting sick, yes, exactly. That's what it was. He was sick and he was not sleeping well. He had a stuffy nose and he had a owy throat, and all of those things will wake them up at night, and they will be just not feeling well and scream and
But
cry
that's
for you.
common
Yeah.
when it comes to like sleep training, any kind of training you're doing with your child. There are going to be some road bumps.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's unfortunately part of the game.
Even traveling can cause that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh,
That's a hard
definitely. Everything that throws them out of their routine, really. So, yeah, I mean, try to be consistent about it. Try to still do the same things. And you might have to start over again, but maybe the second time around, it's going to be quicker to get to the point again, you know? So, yeah, my tips and tricks are definitely, you know, consistency. Patience. And try not to let the crying get to you, because that's the hardest part. Like, you want to go and you want to hug them and you want to tell them everything is okay, mama's here, but you can't, you know, because then they're just going to start and scream louder and more, so that you're going to come to them. They're gonna have to know, hey, it's okay, I can fall asleep by myself, you know. And once you get there, you will be so grateful that you did what you did. And it's not like you're harming them. It's not a very intense.
No, just make sure the
method.
diaper is clean. They're full. And maybe not sick and teething.
Yeah.
Just make sure those are the not happening, and you can let them cry it out a little bit.
Yeah. The crying will actually make them fall asleep quicker, because they get tired from the crying, you know. I mean, it's very exhausting on their little bodies, you know. Another tip that I have is make sure that they eat enough throughout the day, because if they don't get their nutrition in throughout the day, they're gonna wake up because they are hungry in the middle of the night. So make sure they eat enough.
That's another hard thing, is I've heard that you need to kind of slow down the night feedings. If they're like, what is it called, cluster feeding at night, like during the night when they should be sleeping, you kind of need to cut that and have them cluster feed before bed in the afternoon, something like that. And it's hard to transition them because if they're so used to it doing it at night, because that's what mom let them do. But what you can do really well is feed them water, try to soothe them, and like try to prevent the boob, I guess.
Yeah.
Or you can give them a bottle before bed. Sometimes that helps them too. Kind of slowly transition to cluster feeding it before bed.
In fact, if you have a night routine set up, you should be feeding them, like if you breastfeed or if you feed the bottle, you should feed them before the calm part of the night routine. Let's say reading the book or singing lullabies, to fill them up before the calm part starts, because then they're going to be full, and then they're going to be more likely to fall asleep without wanting to drink.
That's actually a really good tip.
Yeah.
Mine were like always falling asleep at the boob.
Yeah, same. I mean, I've been trying, and I probably waited too long. Don't wait too long. Don't do the same mistake as I did, because the problem is it becomes part of their routine.
Yes.
And once it's part of their routine, that's what makes them fall asleep, and then they're going to crave that. They're going to want that. So start early enough. My son is already 1 year old. I have definitely learned a lot from this boy. You know, a lot of mistakes that I've made that I'm not gonna do with the next baby.
Yeah. And also don't give up, because otherwise you're gonna have a 3 and 4 year old trying to crawl into your bed like I do.
Yeah.
I constantly gave up. We would travel.
First baby mistakes, right?
First baby mistakes. Like my second one, honestly, she's been fine. I haven't had to really sleep train my kids, because one is fine with sleeping, and the other one is not okay with sleeping.
Yeah.
So try the training. It does work. I had
Mm-hmm.
many periods where Keenan was sleeping through the night.
Yeah.
As long as I followed it.
Mm-hmm.
Then Dad gets lazy, Mom gets lazy,
Mm-hmm.
bites you in the butt.
Yeah, it does. It does. And also keep in mind that there's all these leaps throughout a child's
You mean when they're growing?
yeah, when they're mentally developing. So like I think the 1 year mark is the big one, the 2 year mark is the big one, and
I think it's like 18 months too, though. I think it's
yeah,
like it's every
could be, yeah,
because it's like bam bam. It's every 3 months or every month for the first 3 months, and every 3 months after, and then every 6 months, and then it goes. I know Elsie went through a big thing, 18 months, but 2 years, she hasn't really done anything.
yeah, and there might still be something coming, right? It's not necessarily right on point with every child.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just spoke to someone at the supermarket and she was like, yeah, my twins slept fine until they were 3. And then all of a sudden they were crying and screaming, and they were probably going through some separation anxiety of some sort. So yeah, it can happen. Just keep in mind, you know, that you might have to restart everything all over when they go through these developmental changes.
Yeah. Which can be kind of hard for them.
Yeah, and for the parents too.
To say the least.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely try it out. See what works for you. If you've heard about the chair method, or if you've tried it and it has worked for you, please let us know. And if you have any tips and tricks, we are definitely open for those at all times. And yeah, thank you for stopping by. We'll see you in our next video, and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.